Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to be back, to be presenting some more information. What I'll be talking about will be some research commissioned by GOED, and this is going to be global market sizing for retail packaged products with DHA or EPA. And these are all fortified or functional products. We're leaving out in the food category things like salmon and tuna and so forth. So we have sized the market top line by global region and by product category. And you can see fairly straightforward in terms of global region, North America, slotting Mexico into Latin America, into the rest of the world, Europe, including Russia, Asia Pacific. By product category, also fairly straightforward, fortified food and beverages, pet food, supplements, treats, nutritional supplements, pharmaceuticals, clinical nutrition, and infant formula. This is really by far the lion's share. The only thing probably there at the margin might be a little bit of health and beauty care product action, particularly in Asia, but that is certainly fledgling. So with that general mission and objective, we worked primarily with interviews. We interviewed quite a bit, including, of course, many GOED members, and thank you very much for your cooperation in that process. And thank you to Adam for nudging along a couple of GOED members in that process. That's the main source of this information, plus also building on some earlier package facts, market sizing, particularly in food and beverage. And then the usual secondary research sources, including, especially for the US market, some retail sales tracking data. So first, just for an overview of where the market is now, we sized it for these product categories at $25.4 billion. You can see that North America is the leading region at a nearly 43% share. Europe and Asia Pacific are tied here with slightly over a quarter share, and the rest of the world at this point fairly fractional in terms of the overall global retail market for these products. If we look at it by product category, you can see that infant formula is the leading category at 40% of sales. And infant formula really is sort of the anchor of this overall market, not only in being the leading category, but also in that this is the mothers of the world typically are the household product shoppers. This is their initiation into and education about buying omega-3 DHA products. Also, in terms of the infant formula being the anchor, the food and beverage is a much wider range of products. The food and beverage has been sort of a wild west of products, and that even includes products such as baby food, toddler nutrition, kids foods, which really are branching from that infant nutrition base. All of these product categories really are interrelated in interesting ways. There really is a web of these products. You can see pet food, treats, and supplements as sort of a overlapping category with human food products and also with nutrition. That's true both in terms of the manufacturers involved and of the trends involved, including culinary trends as well as nutrition trends. And then, of course, nutritional supplements, clinical nutrition, pharmaceutical products, all of these are part of the same story about omega-3 products, and they really resonate across categories, and even sometimes create real ambiguities between categories about what a product is. Okay, focusing on the fortified food and beverage category, we have sized it at $7.9 billion for 2011. North America, half the share, a slightly larger share than it is for the overall global omega products, in part because of categories like fortified dairy, which is proportionally in North America. You can see Europe, 26%, Asia Pacific at this point, slightly behind the curve in relation to the overall market and market share. Nonetheless, novel foods beyond infant formula won approval in China in 2010, so that is a huge growth area. We'll see that in our projections. Again, fortified dairy, a key subsegment, particularly milk in North America, more so yogurt in Europe. Maybe some potential there in Asia Pacific, even for those categories, as dairy products become more affordable. A lot of companies have just a few niche products that are omega-3. We'll see some of those, those sort of help populate the market, even though they can be relatively ephemeral. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, again, as an extension of the infant formula market, baby food, pediatric drinks, all these have potential for good growth. Fortified beverages, to throw out some examples here. Tropicana Pure Premium Healthy Heart Orange Juice. This is their claim, provides an excellent source of omega-3, EPA, and DHA to promote cardiovascular health. It has 50 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA. Typical product, you can see Horizon Organic. One thing that we talked about last time, which I think remains interesting, is that with that organic, Horizon Organic product, the DHA omega-3 is just right there in the middle of the label. The cow's kind of thrust aside on top. It really is that omega-3 content that is being featured, and that really speaks to the marketing strength and the consumer recognition of the importance of this ingredient. We can also see in sort of a before and after with the Silk product how branded ingredients are becoming and will become more important in the product and will contribute to the premiumization of the overall market and the dollar growth. The Minute Maid, another important product, although this product here, I'm not sure you could read it, but it says help nourish the brain. A lot of products, though, like this one, do give fairly complicated messages because you see pomegranate there, you see pomegranate sort of berry color. That's not actually related to the product claim. So there is a sort of a multiplicity of nutritional messages that you really have to cut through on the retail level to be a successful and a memorable product. A few more examples. This is from India. This is, I think, a good example of a product that really claims a clear, clean space for consumers and therefore has a good opportunity for growth. This is from GlaxoSmithKline with Martex Life DHA. Horlicks is a very popular health drink brand, a couple of other food types too, but it's sort of a nutritional food line. There is this Mother's product. It is geared, as the image might show, to pregnant women or breastfeeding women. It is, of course, vegetarian DHA, which is very important for the Indian market. And this is all advertising copy from GlaxoSmithKline pointing out that this is can be a deficiency in the Indian diet. But this kind of product with a clear positioning, I think really makes sense in the market and is what's going to create the market growth. A lot of that positioning really will make sense in terms of life stages, not only infant, but really across the board. And that sort of clear life stage tied to benefit can really help sort of the embarrassment of riches with omega-3 claims by creating this clear product that will make sense to consumers. Just a few more examples. Cooking oils have been very successful in China, a lot more use of oil for frying there. It is the ancestral home of fried foods. We can see examples here from Wilmar International and Copco. Also, we have these products in the States too, fortified cooking salad oils. There really isn't the growth potential there, though that there is in China and elsewhere. And canola oil, for example, has really lost steam in terms of consumer appreciation. Rice bran oil is taking over, so there might be some opportunity there. Going forward one. This is actually my favorite marketing campaign of the product, just to give a few global examples. This is from Mexico. This is a soybean oil fortified with DHA. You can see that a pretty memorable marketing campaign tying everything to the brain benefit. Very graphically and I think very memorably with the kind of image there. I'm not sure what's going on in terms of gender marketing, but a lot is going on, and I think it actually works. Singling out that single benefit, even though it's not tied to a live stage here, I think makes a lot of sense. The marketing copy points out here it's about 25% of the recommended allowance at 40 milligrams. And it also, the other marketing copy makes a point that this is a vegetarian source of DHA, which I assume explains sort of the green color theme that's going on to emphasize this is not fish, this is not, there's no fishy oil issues, taste references here. Again, these products are all over, including in Staples. We have several examples here from Australia. The Omegamide, of course, only in Australia. I don't think that would cross many borders. But you can see the credibility that the expansion that the products have here. That Up bread is interesting because in its marketing copy, you see that it's marketed to put into lunch boxes. So it's tied into kids' brain development. That makes a lot of sense. You see the same kind of thing going on with a Australian First yogurt product. So a lot of opportunity there across different markets, across different staples categories, and including private label. Certainly in the United States, where players like Wegmans are essential. Marks & Spencer's in UK has some private label omega-3 products. So all kinds of credibility and possibility there, as long as you sort of don't get lost in the shuffle as sort of the nutrient of the month. Okay, for pet food, treats, and supplements, this is really a favorite category of mine because it so much represents what's going on in the human market. It's a microcosm of what's going on. It's sized slightly under $1 billion. Most of that in North America, although certainly North America, Europe, and Japan are all traditionally strong markets for pet food, at least on a per capita basis, and also for premium pet foods, which is really where the growth is. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Premiumization, emphasis on pet health care is what's driving global growth. Those two go together. Humanization of companion animals is one of the really strong drivers. In our own surveys, we asked, this was US pet owners, if you consider the pet to be part of your family. And we thought we would go and then distinguish between purchasing patterns of those who did and those who didn't. Well, basically everyone did, so it was a meaningless question because pets really are integral to the family. And you can see that in the kind of care and attention that goes into pet products and also pet services, the whole works, grooming, psychoanalysis, you name it, it's all there. So there's a lot of growth potential there and internationally. And in keeping with sort of the infant formula anchor for this market, most of the activity is in puppy and kitten formulas, particularly in dry dog food. But also we see it in treats too. And it's typical of the human food market as well as the pet food market that, except for a few sort of classic products, pet treats have become nutraceutical treats. The whole market is moving toward that functional direction, even for treats. So just a couple of examples there. It's interesting, again, as in the infant formula market, the puppy, kitten is a big part of it, but we see it for all life stages, as we do for adults. We see it for joint care, we see it for longevity, you name it. We also see, which is interesting, GNC, which is a major retailer brand of supplements in the US, has moved into pet supplements, branded GNC. And again, that speaks to the increasing sort of permeability between the human market and the pet market. We even see, although only in specialty, for specialty marketers like Newman's Own, we'll even see human food brands having pet products, same brand name. We haven't had that by and large in the mass market, although of course Nestle, Mars, Del Monte, a lot of your major food marketers are the key players in pet food. This is some data from the Brazilian Association of Pet Food Industries, and this is just to make the point that there is increasing potential in emerging markets. In Brazil and Russia, for example, are getting a lot of attention in pet care. And it is premium products, super premium products, where you're most likely to have fortification and expenditure in the formulation. And you can see here for Brazil, even though half of the product is at a commodity level, over a quarter is either premium or super premium, and therefore ripe for good quality ingredient fortification and for marketing based on messages based on those ingredients, those nutrients. That brings us to the supplements market. We size it here at $3.2 billion. I haven't mentioned the growth rates, but 7.3% growth rate projected through 2016. 42% in the US, 25% in Europe, 28% in Asia Pacific. Consumers are increasingly more health conscious, and in terms of growth in Asia Pacific, it's not simply rising incomes or rising discretionary income or emerging middle class. It also just really is rising health concerns by consumers. in part, paradoxically and unfortunately, tied in to the same processes which are leading to rising incomes. Multiple claims for supplements, heart, joint, brain, skins. It's also widely included in multivitamins as well as being singled out. And of course, krill-based supplements have been a huge success, some major product lines there. And in terms of growth, are stealing a little bit of the thunder of fish oil, even though fish oil is, of course, an extremely established supplement type, and the most commonly used single nutrient supplement. A couple of images there, just in terms of the trends going on in nutritional supplements, which all bode well for ingredient suppliers. One, increasingly higher concentrations. We see Mega Red, which is marketed as extra strength. We see Omega Smart, which is krill and fish oil, and is marketed as 2 times more. And then we see GNC, which again also had the pet supplement line, marketing triple strength fish oil. So we have higher concentrations, higher potency. We also see a lot of marketing around purity and pharmaceutical grade, which at least from the marketing consumer point of view, if not from the regulator point of view, sort of brings these kind of supplements more into the orbit of pharma. For the pharmaceutical, we sized that market at $1.9 billion, disproportionately in North America, again, compared to other parts of the world, 21% in Europe, 25% in Asia Pacific. The compound annual growth rate we're projecting here over the next 5 years is 8%, which is above the overall market for Omega products, even though the overall growth projections for Omega products are at least twice of the norm for these type of consumer packaged goods. You have the 2 main players here. You have genetic manufacturers beginning to attempt to enter the market and getting some resistance from the patent holders in the courts. But we do have a lot of brand introductions going on in places like Argentina and Brazil. And there are also, I think, 10 or 12 products now in clinical trial for pharmaceutical omega-3s. So that's going to be an interesting market to watch. Bringing us to clinical nutrition, $1.4 billion market sizing for 2011, a compound annual growth rate of 4.3%. This is a relatively conservative segment, justifiably so. It's catering primarily to the critically ill. There are not going to be any quick product formulation changes. There's not going to be a lot of new product introduction activity because of all of the steps and processes involved in getting something approved for treating clinically ill clients. You can see here, though, that the market actually is relatively divided out globally in that you have North America with 35%, Europe with a third, and APAC with 27%. Again, this is a large market, but it's one that is relatively steady, certainly compared to the Wild West of food and beverage products that are not clinical. And then finally, the infant formula market, we're valuing it at $10.2 billion. We have a compound annual growth rate projection of 6.8%. Globally, up to 90% of your infant formula does have DHA, which is, again, just this anchors the entire market. The growth in China will be particularly high, even though the prices have been lower. That can change over time. But that is a great market for this product. The market is fairly mature in the US and North America and in Western Europe. A couple of leading product lines. This is one of the questions that's asked like in the conference is, what are some of the product lines that really have been successful? It's hard to get really solid data on a lot of these, but from some of the information that we did gather, you can see Enfamil infant formula is the leader here, $3.2 billion in sales for infant formula. You can see the Lovaza, Omicor in combination, just different brand names, $1.48 billion. That's also a global estimate. And then some of the other leaders, the Wilmar International Cooking Oil in Chinese sales, $204 million. You can see Purina Puppy Chow, This is US sales, 110 million. The Schiff Mega Red Krill Oil, 92 million. Walmart has a Me Too version of this, whose sales are also going to be very impressive, although they're not released. And then you have products like Jif Peanut Butter with omega-3, creamy or crunchy, and estimated annual sales of about 31 million. So you do have a lot of individual product lines which really are selling well and accounting for a lot of the dollar value of the market. So quickly, just going to the projections. By category, if you compare this to the earlier slide on 2011, there really isn't that much happening. A slight sort of clipping off of food and beverage in the favor of your more clinical, directed, functional products. And I do think that it is the products that have this sort of clear positioning and messaging, which really are the future, as opposed to the ones that just sort of throw in omega-3 along with pomegranate juice or whatever other food or nutrient base. But nothing really dramatic going on here over that 5-year projection period. Where there is a dramatic change, of course, is in the sales by region. You can see this is the 2011, just as a refresher. You can see North America 42%, 43% 2011. Europe, Asia Pacific sort of right on par at slightly over a quarter. Based on our projections, that will go up to, that will change so that, in fact, North America, US and Canada, and Asia Pacific will be the 2 leading regions, both with about 36, 37% of the overall market. Europe receding in relative share to about 22%, and the rest of the world staying fairly stable. And you can see by the compound annual growth rate projections that Asia Pacific is well ahead of the pack. And again, that's not only due to population or rising incomes or emerging middle class, but also to very significant health concerns. Europe will be, again, will relatively lose place in the market due to the maturity of the market there and a relatively sluggish economy. So you can see that's quite a significant resetting of the landscape in terms of the omega-3 product market. And given the multiplicity of claims which omega-3, EPA, DHA can make, and the multiplicity of possibilities, who knows how this will keep spinning and evolving in the future. Okay.